now from the IBA at Winchester, engineering announcements for the radio and television trade.
And welcome to the IBA's weekly information broadcast for the radio and television trade. Along with the summer weather, a seasonal crop of aerial maintenance underway at several transmitting stations. Also, the latest Channel 4 conversion work at existing stations and details of 4 new relays. In Wales, Cefn Mawr, Corris and Llangubbi, and in the Borders, Bonchester Bridge.
During the summer months, both the BBC and the IBA take the opportunity to refurbish that final link in our broadcasting chain, the transmitting aerial. This work is essential if the aerials are to continue handling high RF powers, often under extremes of weather conditions, usually many hundreds of feet above the ground. With 51 main stations and more than 770 relays, it's a never-ending task. Each station gets a major overhaul every 5 years. Although both organisations provide their own transmitters, at any one site either the BBC or the IBA takes responsibility for the mast and aerial system. The IBA acts as landlord for roughly half the number of transmitting sites and the BBC for the remainder.
Masts have to be painted, the transmitting aerials checked, and protective weather shields must be maintained in good order. Aerial riggers have to work at great heights, often in cramped and uncomfortable conditions. It wouldn't be safe to work near high RF fields, hence the need for reduced power. On occasions, a station may need to be switched off altogether, but usually only for a few minutes at a time. To minimise inconvenience to viewers, transmitting aerials at high power stations are in 2 halves. This allows transmissions to continue from one half of the aerial only, albeit at reduced power, while the other half is being overhauled. There's also the advantage of providing backup should a fault develop in one part of the aerial system.
However, half aerial working implies more than just power. During normal working, the phases of the signals fed to each part of the aerial are set very carefully. Maximum power is directed towards the edge of the service area, with less power directed downwards towards areas very close to the transmitter, but avoiding sharp nulls. When only half the aerial is being used, this careful phasing is lost, so that some areas, usually quite near the transmitter, tend to lose out rather more than others. However, most people should hardly notice the difference. Reduced power from main stations should not affect dependent relays, except of course when there are short interruptions.
In the London area, major aerial maintenance takes place next week at Crystal Palace. This involves replacing aerial panels at nearly 700 feet above ground level and is intended to ensure continued reliable operation over the coming years. The present aerial at Crystal Palace was installed in 1968. The ITV service started in November 1969. This is one of a small number of stations with separate BBC and IBA aerials, each designed to handle 2 channels.
The BBC and IBA aerials are identical. Each consists of 4 sets of panels, mounted one above the other. The panels are metal sheets with vertical slots, each about a wavelength long. Strange as it may seem, vertical slots produce horizontal polarization. To give an omnidirectional radiation pattern, there are 3 sets of panels mounted on the faces of a triangular spine, seen here looking down from the top. The complete aerial system, with the 2-channel BBC aerial immediately above the 2-channel IBA aerial, is protected by a fiberglass weather shield. It's only about 5 feet in diameter to keep the wind loading low. This does mean, however, that access to the radiating panels is severely restricted.
A certain amount of preparatory work has already taken place, but the major part of the work, replacing the aerial panels on both the IBA and the BBC aerials, should take place between the 6th and 12th of August, weather permitting. This will be done in 3 stages, dismantling and replacing each of the 3 aerial faces one at a time. We've sent out a letter explaining all this to everyone on our mailing lists in the London area. If you hadn't received a copy, do contact us. Transmitters affected by planned aerial maintenance are listed on Oracle page 590 on Channel 4. and there's a special Oracle page on 390 on ITV in the London area only, up to date with the latest details of work on Crystal Palace.
And aerial maintenance continues at both Pontop Pike and Coldbeck, with all services liable to reduce power and interruptions for about another week. In Devon, aerial maintenance at Stockland Hill is nearly complete, but there may be interruptions on 1 or 2 mornings this week. And in Northern Ireland, Brucha Mountain continues on reduced power until the end of this week. In the north of Scotland, sometime during the coming week, there are likely to be interruptions to transmissions from Scrieag and Aishall, together with their dependent stations. 2 breaks are expected, one lasting 6 hours, the other 8 hours. This is because of work on a microwave link station. Today in the Midlands, Larkstoke is off between 11 and midday because of work by the Electricity Board. Also today in Scotland, the relay at Tay Bridge is liable to be off the air until midday for aerial work, weather permitting. In Derbyshire, Matlock is off today between 11 and 1 because of work by the Electricity Board, and Bole Hill is off between 9 and 11.
For the same reason, in the London area, Hughenden is expected to be off for about half an hour sometime this morning. Tomorrow morning, the relay at Chesterfield will be off between 9 and 11, also because of work by the Electricity Board. On Thursday, it's the turn of both Calver Peak and Tideswell Moor, off between 9 and 11 in the morning. Also on Thursday, in the Borders, an aerial inspection means that Ainstable will be off between 10 and 11 in the morning. In South Wales, Brecon is expected to be off the air until midday each day from today until Friday. This is for aerial maintenance, weather permitting.
New relays next, starting in south-west Wales near Carmarthen, where the relay at Ferryside, originally hoped to be on the air this week, has now been delayed. We hope to have more details next week. Now due on air next week in mid-Wales near Machynlleth, Corris, HTV Wales and TVAM on channel 49 and S4C on 42, the aerial group B and vertically polarised. In North Wales near Rwabon, Kevin Mauer is also expected in a week or 2. The channel for HTV Wales and TVAM is 41, with S4C on 47. Again, the aerial group is B, vertically polarised.
In the Borders near Howick, Bonchester Bridge is also due in a couple of weeks. Border Television and TVAM on channel 49, with channel 4 on 42. The aerial group is B, vertically polarised. Back to Wales next, near Lampeter, where Llangubbi is now hoped to be ready in a couple of weeks. HTV Wales and TVAM are on channel 25, and S4C on 32. Group A aerials are needed, vertically polarised.
Channel 4 next, and conversion work at existing stations. Now on the air in Kent, Chatham Town. The channel number is 54 and the relay covers a population of 4,500. On the Isle of Skye, Scrieag on channel 31 has been delayed a little and is now due towards the end of this week. This also affects the start of channel 4 from Tarbet Harris, Ardintoul and Uig, now expected towards the end of next week. Also now due next week in Northern Ireland, Gortnalee on channel 31 and Bushmills on channel 47.
Well, that's all for this week. Do contact us if you have any technical or reception queries. Our telephone number is Winchester, that's STD code 0962 822444. Or join us again next Tuesday, either at 9:15 or 12:15. And from Bruce Randall and myself, Janet Smythe, goodbye until next week.